President Trump planning huge replacement. It seems that President Trump may soon have another opportunity to appoint another judge to the Supreme Court. According to sources close to Justice Anthony Kennedy, the judge thinks about withdrawing from the High Court. Kennedy, 80, says that old age has finally caught up with him and that he seriously considers about retiring. He was appointed in 1998 by President Ronald Reagan and is currently the oldest justice in the High Court after the death of conservative Judge Antonin Scalia. Even though he was appointed by Reagan, Kennedy is politically impartial and has always been the one to decide Supreme Court tie-breakers. After Gorsuch's appointment, the Supreme Court is divided by 4 conservative and 4 progressive justices, with Kennedy caught in the middle, always deciding scores stalemates. Should Kennedy decides to withdraw, this will give Trump the opportunity to appoint another conservative justice, thus having 5 conservative to 4 liberal justices. Judge Kennedy is close to President Donald Trump, with the two of them both having kids who reside in New York. The Supreme Court justice has invited Ivanka Trump to the High Court to sit in a section usually reserved for family. The president's success in replacing Justice Scalia with a prudent and devoted justice may have affected Kennedy's final decision, since he has seen that Trump is capable of choosing people that will be worthy to replace the honorable Supreme Court justices. Let's just hope that Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, 84, will also withdraw in a couple of years. Ginsburg will be smart to do this, since she has trouble staying awake during Supreme Court hearings and it is fairly impossible for her to stay at the High Court during Trump's tenure. If both Justice Ginsburg and Justice Kennedy withdraw, Donald Trump could appoint 1/3 of the Supreme Court. If Trump eventually succeeds to appoint another right-leaning judge to the High Court, this will slope the balance of the court to 6 conservative and 3 liberal justices. What do you think about this? Share this on Facebook and Twitter along with your comment. Shep Smith slanders Trump on live TV. Immediately regrets it. Shep Smith launched into yet another rant against Donald Trump's administration on Monday, and Fox News fans made it clear that they have had enough of the longtime host. Raw Story reported that during his show this afternoon, Smith wondered once again how Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner could plead ignorance regarding a meeting with a Kremlin-linked Russian lawyer. This came after it was reported that Kushner was present at a meeting that included Donald Trump Jr. and Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya, who had promised to deliver damaging confidential information about Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. However, Kushner says he didn't even realize what that infamous meeting at Trump Tower was about, explained Jonathan Lemire of the Associated Press. "Okay, hang on," Smith interrupted. "There's an email, and at the top of that email there is a subject line. Let's look at that subject line. Here it is. This is an email from Donald Trump Jr., sent on Wednesday the 8th of June at noon or so. The subject line, Russia, Clinton, private and confidential." So what he is saying is he didn't read deep into the email, and we are to believe that he didn't read the subject line? He added. That is the version he is saying, Lemire said. Frankly, Paul Manafort has made a similar case. Twitter users immediately fired back to let Smith know that they are tired of his anti-Trump views. Share this story if you think Fox News should fire Shep Smith. Moments after O'Reilly being fired, Rush asks one question no one else dared to do. Rush Limbaugh is always there to make his commitment when it's really hard for all of us. He bashed the leftists and their sick donors with his powerful words to protect the pride of his colleague Bill O'Reilly. The elites will hate what Rush just said. Read more below. In the wake of Fox News host Bill O'Reilly's ouster, talk show host Rush Limbaugh noted Thursday that there is a different standard for sexual misconduct on the left than there is on the right. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered why not a single left-wing media figure is ever the target of advertiser boycotts? Have you ever noticed that? And, if you haven't, please take notice of it, and then ask yourself, why? What in the world could explain the one-sidedness of this? Limbaugh said. How is it that a woman who is now out there berating Bill O'Reilly as a subhuman dryball happily once dated Anthony Weiner and is currently on CNN giving commentary about this and many other things? He added. Limbaugh reminded listeners that many voices outraged over O'Reilly's conduct were less so when allegations were flying around a liberal icon. Because, you know, liberals, sponsors of O'Reilly have you noticed many of them sponsor the Clinton Foundation? Many of them. I mean, you talk about sexual abuse? Bill Clinton's wife ran the bimbo eruptions units when he was in the White House to seek and find the women who might accuse Bill Clinton of sexual abuse, and other things, and destroy them. And advertisers never leave the Clintons, and donors never leave the Clintons. Why is that? He said. And then the New York Times lowers the boom and points out that O'Reilly is a serial whatever and has paid off $13 million to other women to shut up. There has to be an outlet for the anger. Then what happens is where the real story begins, he said, noting that advertisers are then deluged with complaints. Those complaints, however, are fake, Limbaugh said. It is a bunch of bots, Facebook bots and Twitter bots that may have been generated by no more than 10 people, made to look like tens of thousands. And that's all she wrote, he said. It's nothing but a giant, full-fledged, manufactured smear, and don't forget where it started. It started in the New York Times, he said. The reason that it starts in the New York Times is important is because the second aspect is that corporate intrigue that I mentioned that is also behind this, and it's. Sigh, I don't work there, so I guess it's not any quicksand, but there is a battle for power going on there between sons of Rupert Murdoch and Rupert, and they are not conservatives, my friends, he said. Their friends are all liberal. Their wives. One of their wives works for the Clinton Global Initiative, he said, noting that because the story was in the New York Times, it had undue influence on the circle in which Murdoch's sons move socially. Limbaugh said that the dynamics of Fox are changing, and to expect more change. It's not gonna be the way it is for long. There's a shake-up coming, and it's generational. It's generational and political. It's just like anything else, nothing ever is constantly the same. There's change everywhere, he said. T. Western journalism, good job Rush Limbaugh. This is sad, but important day for our people. Bill O'Reilly lost one battle, but not the war. He sowed the seed of truth in the hearts of many Americans. His mission will be continued and he is going to prove his honor and innocence. Don't you agree with Rush? Share your opinion. People moves on McCain on Twitter after he blocked Obamacare repeal. The Gateway pundit has written about the Senate. McCain obstructed the last effort the GOP made to revoke Obamacare during a midnight vote. McCain delayed Donald Trump's hugest vow from his presidential campaign. The U.S. citizens are mad at McCain for voting against the repealing of Obamacare, and they took on Twitter to bash on him. You, sir, are a liar. https://t.co/qxv6-4, Google CNN, 175, Sue, Ed Knowlton C., July 28, 2007. Breaking tragic announcement about Ivanka Trump. Democrats wrote a letter to the FBI on Wednesday demanding that the agency investigate whether President Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka Trump disclosed her husband Jared Kushner's meetings with Russian officials on her application for security clearance. Newsweek reported that 22 House Democrats sent a letter to acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe demanding the Bureau investigate whether there are any discrepancies in Ivanka Trump's filings to get access to America's most closely kept secrets. When she took a position in her father's White House, the documents she submitted to gain clearance would have asked her to disclose any contact with foreign governments, as well as any contact immediate family may have had. Lack of candor, particularly regarding contacts with Russian officials, has been a significant issue for the Trump administration, the Democrats wrote, adding that they fear Ivanka may have engaged in deception. The Democrats added that between her and Kushner, the couple have been assigned expansive policy portfolios, even as they maintain a business empire that relies on foreign financing and manufacturing. The juxtaposition of their public and private roles may be murky and confused, they added, but her obligation to disclose her family's and her foreign contacts is not. Share this story if you support Ivanka Trump. He issued this chilling warning towards some Republicans in Congress that made things clearer. Today President Donald Trump wrote a tweet in which he said, "If Republicans don't repeal and replace the disastrous Obamacare, the repercussions will be far greater than any of them understand." The Hill reported that it was one of the several tweets the president sent on Sunday and comes ahead of a planned Senate vote this week on revised health care reform legislation. A number of serious problems mean that the chances of getting that bill passed are slim to none. In an earlier tweet, Trump targeted some unnamed members of his party, saying sad Republicans who benefited from his electoral coattails in the 2016 election now won't protect him. "It's very sad that Republicans, even some that were carried over the line on my back, do very little to protect their president," Trump tweeted. What do you think of this? Share your opinion.